You want the truth? I was proud of her, at first. Ashley. Blonde, brilliant, ruthless. She played the game better than anyone else. Promotion after promotion. I thought I was part of that story. I was wrong. At her surprise party, she had everything. The spotlight, the applause, even my own damn parents praising her. To the real breadwinner, they said. The room laughed, clapped, toasted her greatness. And me? I stood there in silence. Then she handed it to me, this shirt, wrapped like a joke gift. I opened it. The loser of the house. They laughed harder. Some took pictures. Her boss, Gary, clinked glasses with her and called her a powerhouse. I stood there holding that shirt, and for the first time in our marriage, I saw the truth. I wasn't her partner. I was her pet. But what she didn't know was that I had already installed new security cameras around the house. Suspicion has a way of whispering to you in your sleep. And that night, it screamed. The footage didn't lie. 3 days earlier, 2:13 a.m., Ashley snuck in with Gary. Lipstick ruined, dress hiked up, heels in her hand. She kissed him like she didn't have a husband. She used him like she didn't have a soul. On my couch. In my home. So I smiled. Because while she was laughing at my pain, she had no idea I was about to bury her career and her lover in under 48 hours. I didn't sleep that night. Not a minute. I just sat there, in the dark, watching the footage over and over again. My hands weren't shaking. My breathing was calm. It was like something inside me had shut off, and something else had turned on. Something cold. Focused. At 6:47 a.m., I heard her heels coming down the hallway. She walked into the kitchen, all high energy, her promotion glow still clinging to her like perfume. She didn't notice my stare. Didn't notice the silence. She poured herself coffee, took a selfie with it, probably to post another one of those girl boss mornings on Instagram. She turned to me and smiled. Morning, loser, she said playfully, tapping my chest where the shirt used to be. Still salty from last night? I didn't answer. She rolled her eyes and walked out the door with a kiss in the air like I was a dog she didn't have time to pet. And as soon as the door closed, I went to work. I didn't call her. Didn't yell. Didn't cry. Instead, I uploaded the security cam footage to a private link. I saved it with a title so simple, so damning. Ashley, company violation footage. I sent it straight to HR at her company using a spoofed burner email. No message. No context. Just the video. 10 minutes later, I used an old connection from college, Jake, a guy who owed me big for access to their internal email network. I found Gary's email. Downloaded every flagged attachment. And jackpot. He had been sending Ashley confidential financial documents from his company email. I bundled that too. Sent it all to the board of directors. By noon, I was halfway through the demolition of her life. She didn't know any of it yet. She was too busy smiling in meetings, probably still bragging about her party. But around 2:15 p.m., she texted me. Babe, weird thing. HR just asked me to come in. Did you get a call from them? I didn't answer. 5 minutes later. Hey, this is serious. They said something about an email. Did you do something? Still silent. Then came the panic. Ethan, I swear if this is some joke, it's not funny. Pick up your phone. Ethan. Ethan. By 3:30 p.m., she had messaged me 47 times. Then she started calling. I let the phone ring. Every time. Like music. At 4:12 p.m., she sent the big one. You ruined me. And it felt good. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I had given everything to that woman. My love. My time. My trust. And all I got back was a cheap t-shirt and a house full of lies. She came home that evening looking like she'd been hit by a truck. No heels. No makeup. Just raw panic on her face. She slammed the door and walked straight toward me. What the F*** did you do? I didn't even look at her. I was still watching the footage. On loop. Volume up this time. You really want to ask me that? I said. She stared at the screen. Watched herself pull Gary onto the couch like it was her second job. She blinked once. Twice. Then said the dumbest thing imaginable. That's not what it looks like. I laughed. Actually laughed. That loud, bitter, are you kidding me kind of laugh. Is he just helping you find your earring? With his pants off? You're overreacting, she snapped. It was a mistake. Was it a mistake when you let him grab your throat? Or when you told him you wanted to ruin my life slowly so I'd feel it? She froze. Yeah. She didn't know I had audio, too. I stood up. For the first time in weeks, I felt taller than her. Stronger. Clearer. This isn't a fight, I said. This is your ending. She tried to play victim, said she was stressed, that she didn't mean it, that I pushed her away by not being ambitious enough. "You've humiliated me in front of my parents," I said. "In front of my friends. You made me your punchline. Now you get to be mine." She slapped me. I smiled and walked away. She screamed something after me. I don't even remember what. Probably some insult, some threat. But I was already done listening. The next morning, the silence in the house was different. It wasn't the kind of silence that comes from two people avoiding a fight. It was the kind that settles in when something's dead and neither person wants to bury it yet. She sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone like there was still a world outside that hadn't crumbled. Her eyes were swollen. No makeup. Sweatshirt instead of her usual tailored blazer. "Gary's been fired," she said flatly, like she was talking about the weather. "HR thinks he leaked internal data. They're investigating everything. Legal's involved." I took a sip of my coffee. No response. She looked up at me. They might press charges. Still nothing from me. Not a word. I wanted her to sit in the weight of her own actions, in the space she used to fill with lies and charm. "Ethan," she finally snapped. "We need to talk." "You already said everything you needed to," I said without looking up. "I made a mistake, okay? People make mistakes. You don't accidentally climb on top of your boss and moan about destroying your husband. That's not a mistake. That's who you are." Her lip twitched like she wanted to cry, but couldn't bring herself to show weakness in front of me. That was Ashley, always keeping the upper hand, even when she was drowning. "Are you going to divorce me?" she asked. That hit harder than I expected. Because that word had been circling in my head since the moment I saw the footage. But hearing her say it out loud, like a business transaction, just made it uglier. "Do you think you deserve to be married to me after what you did?" She hesitated. Then, true to form, she shifted into attack mode. "You're not perfect either," she spat. "You gave up on your career. You let me carry us. You were content being average while I worked my ass off. Do you know how hard it is to respect someone who doesn't even fight?" I finally looked at her. "I wasn't fighting for a promotion, Ashley. I was fighting for us. For this marriage. You were out there collecting trophies while I was keeping the lights on at home and holding us together." She stood up, knocking her chair back. "I'm not going to be punished for being ambitious." "No," I said, stepping forward, "you're being punished for being a liar. And a cheater. And for turning our life into a stage where only you got applause." Her phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it, probably another message from her now ex-boss, or one of her equally toxic friends. I grabbed it and looked her dead in the eyes. "You're not the only one who can humiliate someone publicly." She lunged for it, but I held it up. "Don't," she said, voice trembling. I unlocked the phone. Yeah, I knew her code. Still the same, our anniversary date. The irony made me sick. I pulled up her photos. She tried to stop me, but I shoved her back, not violently, just enough to remind her I wasn't the doormat she remembered. There were selfies. Hundreds of them. Her with Gary in hotels. Her half-dressed in the office. Her talking to the camera, whispering disgusting things I can't even repeat, calling herself his little secret. Laughing. Mocking me. I sent every file to a backup drive I'd set up the night before. And then, one final push, I messaged them all to Gary's wife. She screamed. Tried to slap the phone out of my hand. "You son of a..." "Say it," I said calmly. "Let it out. Be real for once in your goddamn life." She ran to the bathroom, locked the door, and started crying. Loud, dramatic sobs that might have worked a year ago. Not today. I sat on the couch, surrounded by the silence of a life that had finally stopped lying to itself. I didn't feel like a loser anymore. Not because I won. This wasn't a victory. But because I'd finally seen things for what they were. No more pretending. No more performing. And outside, the sun rose like nothing had happened. Like the world didn't care who cheated, who cried, or who finally stood up. And maybe that's what made it feel real. She didn't come out of the bathroom for almost an hour. When she finally did, her mascara was smeared down her cheeks, and she had this glassy, vacant look in her eyes, like a kid who got caught stealing and still couldn't believe someone had the audacity to say no. But there was no apology. No shame. Just silence. I stood by the kitchen window, watching the neighbor across the street mow his lawn like it was just another ordinary morning. Funny how normal the world looked when everything inside your home was rotting. Ashley sat down on the edge of the couch, arms crossed, legs twitching. "What now?" she asked, voice low, almost defeated. I turned to her. "Now you pack." Her mouth opened slightly, like she couldn't quite process it. "You're serious?" I nodded. You're not sleeping in this house tonight. She laughed, a dry, bitter sound. You think you can just kick me out? This is my house too, Ethan. I corrected. Until you turned it into your boss's playground. Until you made me the joke in every room you walked into. She looked away. You want a lawyer? Call one, I said. You want to fight for this house? Go ahead. I've got enough evidence to make sure you don't walk away with a doorknob. You might have been the breadwinner, Ashley, but I was the one who built the foundation. You just burned it down. Her jaw clenched. You think people will believe you? I don't care, I said. I'm not after your image. I'm not here to ruin your name. I'm just done letting you wear mine. That landed. Her eyes flickered, and for the first time, there was fear behind them. Real fear. Not of being exposed, but of losing control. Where am I supposed to go? She muttered. I stared at her, cold. To hell, for all I care. But since I'm still a better person than you, I booked you a hotel for 3 nights. After that, you're on your own. Her eyes welled up again. And that's when she played her last, desperate card. What about us? What if I try to fix it? That moment stretched long and heavy between us. I remembered our wedding. Her laugh. The way she looked at me back then, like I was her whole world. Then I remembered that video. You weren't trying to fix anything when he had his hands all over you. You didn't care when you unzipped his pants on our couch. So don't you dare ask about us now. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She just stood up, slow and careful, like she was trying not to fall apart in front of me. I'll get my stuff, she whispered. She went upstairs, and I heard drawers opening, zippers closing, hangers clattering. It was mechanical. Hollow. Like she was packing someone else's life. 30 minutes later, she walked past me with a suitcase in one hand and her phone in the other. No goodbye. No, I'm sorry. Just the clicking of her heels fading down the hallway one last time. I stood in that empty silence for a long time after she left. The house felt bigger, colder, but not worse. It was finally honest. I poured myself a drink, sat down on the same couch where they had betrayed me, pressed play on the footage again, not because I needed to see it, but because I needed to feel it one last time. Not the betrayal, not the rage, the clarity. Then I opened a blank document on my laptop and titled it, Rules for the Next Time I Let Someone In. And rule number 1 was simple. Never ignore the silence. The next 3 days were quiet. Not peaceful, just silent in that way that lets your mind fill every empty space with noise of its own. I kept the house dark, curtains drawn. Walked past her empty makeup station every morning like it was a gravestone. Her perfume still lingered in the closet. I could have thrown it out. Could have burned the whole dresser if I wanted. But I didn't. I wanted to feel the discomfort, the bitterness, the echo of what used to be. I needed to sit in the ruins before I moved on from them. On the second day, Gary's wife, Melissa, called me. I almost didn't answer. Didn't know if I had the strength to deal with someone else's heartbreak. But I picked up. She didn't say hi. Just, is it true? I didn't ask what she meant. Yeah, I said quietly. It's all true. She exhaled hard through the phone, like she'd been holding her breath for years. I found receipts, she said, and voice notes. Your video just confirmed everything I already felt. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. You have nothing to be sorry for, she said. They do. There was a pause, then her voice dropped lower. He's begging me not to leave. Says it didn't mean anything. Says he was drunk, manipulated, pressured by her. I couldn't help but let out a short laugh. Sounds familiar. He even blamed you, she said. Of course he did. We talked for almost an hour. About the lies. The nights we stayed up wondering if we were crazy for feeling distance. The way our partners made us feel small, forgettable. Like we were the ones slipping. At the end of the call, she said, You're stronger than you think, Ethan. I didn't feel strong. I felt hollow. But maybe that was part of it. That night, I slept in the guest room. Not because I needed the change, but because I couldn't stand the shape her body left in our bed. That stupid dip in the mattress where she used to curl up after long meetings and fake apologies. On the morning of the 4th day, Ashley came back. She didn't knock. She just walked in with her spare key like she still had a place here. I was in the kitchen eating cold cereal in silence. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, dressed like she was going to war, black blazer, sharp lipstick, fake confidence. I want to talk, she said. No. Her jaw tightened. Ethan, I'm not leaving until we talk. You don't live here anymore. It's still half mine. Then take your half and leave me the quiet. She dropped her bag onto the floor. You think this is justice? You think this makes us even? I looked at her for a long moment. You humiliated me in front of my family. You slept with your boss. You made me feel like a joke for supporting you. And then you gave me a shirt to wear like it was a badge. She flinched at that. I stood up, walked toward her slow and steady. You didn't just cheat on me. You made me your backup dancer. You took every dream we had and made it your spotlight. And you didn't even say sorry. Silence. Then she did something I didn't expect. She dropped to her knees. Not crying. Not broken. Just calculating. I'll do anything, she said quietly. I'll quit my job. I'll cut him off. I'll go to therapy. Just don't divorce me. I tilted my head. That's not regret, I said. That's survival. She didn't deny it. I stepped back. You're scared because I'm not the man you thought I was. You thought I'd beg, cry, chase after your lies. But I didn't. Her lips trembled. Go, I said. And when you close that door, don't look back. There's nothing here for you anymore. She stood slowly, picked up her bag. Her eyes scanned the house like she was trying to find one thing left that still belonged to her. There wasn't. She left without another word. And this time, she didn't come back. 3 weeks passed. Not a single message. Not a call. Not even a like on an old post. It was like she vanished, and part of me wondered if that's what she always wanted. Not a clean break. Just a world where she didn't have to face the wreckage she caused. The silence? I started to like it. No more fake apologies. No more clipped phone calls from hotel rooms. No more pretending. But healing's never clean. It creeps up in flashes, late-night memories, dreams that feel too real, smells that bring you right back into a moment you hate. One night, I caught myself sitting on the floor in front of the closet, holding her old hoodie, the one she wore on rainy Sundays. I stared at it for an hour. Didn't cry. Didn't speak. Just sat there, breathing her absence. Then I tossed it into a trash bag and took it outside. That was the last piece of her I let live in this house. Around that time, Melissa texted me again. Simple. Coffee. We met at a small cafe outside the city. Neutral ground. Safe. She wore sunglasses even though it was cloudy, her version of armor. I got it. She sat down, ordered a black coffee, and finally said, he moved out. Went to stay with his brother in Florida. Says he's rebuilding. I told him I hope the foundation collapses. I smiled. You okay? I don't know, she said. I think I will be. It's weird though. It's like, part of me still expects him to walk through the door. Like he's not really gone. Yeah, I nodded. I get that. She studied me. You look better. I sleep now. She chuckled. Progress. We didn't talk about them much after that. Just life. Work. Things we'd forgotten we loved doing. Turns out she liked painting. I'd forgotten how much I used to write. There was no flirting. No rebound talk. Just two people trying to stitch themselves back together in the quiet. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. From Ashley. It wasn't long. Just 2 pages, handwritten. The same handwriting she used on sticky notes she'd leave on the fridge back when we still made each other lunch. It said she was sorry. That she didn't know who she'd become. That she missed who we were. That losing me felt like losing the part of herself that still had a soul. Then she said something that stuck with me. You loved me when I didn't even love myself. And instead of growing with you, I used you as a mirror to hate everything I saw. I'm sorry for turning you into a reflection of my own failure. I folded the letter, put it back in the envelope, and placed it in a drawer I don't open often. Because forgiveness is not the same as forgetting. I didn't reply. Instead, I went back to living. I started running again. Not far. Just a few miles at sunrise. Enough to remind my body it still has purpose. I picked up my camera again, something I hadn't touched in years. Took pictures of ordinary things. Coffee mugs. Shoes by the door. Rain on the glass. And one day, I realized something. I wasn't waiting anymore. Not for closure. Not for her to explain it better. Not for someone to tell me I mattered. I knew I did. It didn't come all at once. But little by little, the weight she left behind started to lift. Not because she took it with her, but because I stopped carrying it. It was a Thursday morning when I finally walked into the bedroom and saw it for what it was, just a room. Not a graveyard for memories. Not a stage for betrayal. Just 4 walls, a bed, and a window with light pouring in. And for the first time, I didn't flinch when I stepped inside. Didn't see her shadow in the mirror or hear her voice in the silence. It was just me now. And that was enough. Later that day, I stood in front of the mirror shaving. Something I hadn't done properly in weeks. I looked at myself. Really looked. The guy staring back wasn't broken. Tired, sure. A little hollow around the eyes. but solid, still standing. I thought back to the party, to the shirt, to her smug little smirk when she handed it to me. The loser of the house. Funny how fast that flipped. She lost her job, her reputation, her comfortable lies. And me? I gained something she never gave me. Peace. I never responded to her letter, never reached out, never stalked her socials, though I know she was watching mine. Melissa told me Ashley asked about me once, just once. Said she heard I was doing fine. That word probably tasted like poison in her mouth. Let her choke on it. I didn't need revenge anymore. That was done. I didn't need her to suffer, or cry, or beg. The silence was punishment enough for both of us. But if I'm honest, I did learn something. If someone loves you only when you're useful, it's not love. It's leverage. And the second you stop being useful, you become disposable. Ashley didn't break me. She exposed me to truths I refused to see. So if you're reading this, or watching this, or sitting in your own quiet house wondering how the hell you got here, let me say this. Pay attention to the little humiliations. They're warnings wrapped in laughter. The jokes that cut too deep. The eye rolls in public. The way they talk about you like you're a burden instead of a partner. Don't wait for the footage. Don't wait to find them tangled up with someone else in your home. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And if they ever hand you a shirt that calls you a loser, burn it. And walk out wearing your own damn name. Because you're not a loser. You're just free.